But this new one, no real details have surfaced. There's an image that's been floating around that supposedly is a fake, but has been claimed by numerous peoples as being genuine. But it's just a production, like, it's not even a production still, it's just a promotional image of, you know, your basic Godzilla standing in a city going roar. And I don't know, I had an idea that I was trying to write out a long time ago. Sometime in high school, I was trying to write out my own idea for a remake of the original Godzilla. And this was kind of before remakes became the thing to do in Hollywood, so it didn't seem as silly to me. Nowadays, remakes are starting to, I don't know, get old. Just the idea of it seems a little insulting, but my idea, I thought, I mean, it was my idea, so of course I liked it, but my idea was just to take the story of Godzilla, the original, the 1954 one, and kind of do it from a more street level approach. Kind of like Cloverfield, I guess, but, you know, smarter and more genuine, more focused on the monster than, you know, 90210 style relationship drama. Punch you in your head! Oh! Oh! Wait, hang on, he died? But he didn't explode. Oh, whatever. You see, I'm so Hollywoodized that I expect an explosion every time something cool happens. But this new Godzilla movie, of course, I'm hoping it turns out to be good. Oh, fuck that noise. I mean, there's no way of knowing how it'll be until I actually sit down to see it, but I don't know. I think Godzilla is a very inherently Japanese concept and character, you know. And no amount of CG is ever going to replace a man in a suit. It's just how it is. I mean, watching Haruo Nakajima, or any suit actor for that matter, like, portray their character it's just one of those things that I fell in love with as a kid, and I never get tired of it. Just the idea of conveying character by no more than, you know, sound effects, a few simple special effects, you know, just like fire breath and pyrotechnics, and mainly just body language, you know, taking all that and making a character out of it, and making them very complete and fleshed out. Just it's something that's really impressive to watch. It's like watching a mime performance, but with cool costumes, so you don't get bored. And props, lots and lots of props. So you take Carrot Top and put them together with a mime, and put them in a model city, and there you go. There's Godzilla. Nah, that's just a joke. A really bad one at that. I was only thinking for about half of it, so I kind of aborted it halfway. Sorry about that. I don't know, CG and Tokusatsu. Like, Tokusatsu doesn't refer to guys in silly costumes and stuff. It just refers to special effects, basically. But deep down, we all know what it refers to. I mean, it's a certain kind of sci-fi, a certain kind of special effects production, and it's its own thing. It's its own genre, and I don't think we get it here. Something in Japanese culture, the whole thing about special effects being fakey for a reason, you know. Kind of minimalist in a way, but I don't know. Lately I've been kind of pissed off at Japanese cinema, actually. Been diverting most of my interest, or my international film interest, to Hong Kong and Korea, because Japan really has not been putting out good product as of late. I mean, I haven't watched 20th Century Boys. I probably will at some point, but other than that, it seems all they do are film adaptations of TV series, like dramas, you know, the soap opera kind of stuff, or fucking quirky comedies. Japan is always going to put out quirky, low-budget films where characters are odd for the sake of being odd, and that's generally where the humor is supposed to come from. But in the early 2000s, there was a really big outpouring of, I don't know, ambitious, like, action and special effects and sci-fi kind of stuff, you know. Like, that was when Yuhei Kitamura was really, really big, and he was getting projects like twice a year at least, and they were really high-profile projects with pretty significant financial backing. And nowadays, though, it just seems like they're cutting back, and it's a shame, because I don't know, I've always maintained that Japanese film, at least in terms of like high-budget productions, they have a, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? Why won't it break? They have a habit of going out half-cocked, kind of. Like, seems like they don't try as hard as they should. It's the kind of thing where if they spent a little bit more money, maybe they'd put out better product. And if they hired better actors instead of people that just look pretty, maybe they'd once again make better product. Hong Kong, China, and Korea, though, they continue to push the envelope. And Korea, in the past year or two, has like remarkably started like really putting out a lot of costume dramas and stuff like that, and it's really interesting. Hong Kong, of course, is always going to be close to the top, if not the top, of action cinema. Of course, with all my love for Donnie Yen and all that shit, I'll probably never get tired of watching their movies. But I'd really love to see another Japanese Godzilla movie, because in my eyes, they're the only ones who can do it right. Although, big thing with Godzilla in like the last few years of his career, you know, in the early 2000s, was that there was a really obvious change of in the mood of the films. They became kids' films like they were in the 70s or in the 60s. Like in the Heisei era, it had a nice tone to it. It was good for the age I was when I started watching this. Because they were silly, of course, and they were colorful, but they had an element of seriousness. Like, there were stakes involved, you know, like, characters would die, things would happen. It wasn't all just flash. But the early 2000s, like, basically from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla onward, all the movies just seemed so fucking juvenile, and even the monster designs were the same. Like, they were so, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word, but basically all the characters, all the monster designs just seemed too friendly. Like, in the Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, or Godzilla X Mechagodzilla two-part series, Godzilla's design was really nice to look at, I guess, but the design of his face was so, like anime-like. His eyes were too big and had too much character to them. Like, I personally, I didn't mind, you know, the taxidermy, glassy-eyed look of Godzilla in the earlier films, like in Godzilla 1984 and Godzilla vs. Biollante. He had a primal quality to him that, you know, it was like staring at a lion or a gorilla at the zoo. Like, when they look at you, they look through you, and they don't always have an expression, but you can always feel the energy coming from their glance, you know. You can kind of peer into their head even though they aren't letting anything on. That's kind of what I got from the earlier Godzilla movies. Mainly because the physical performance was there. You really believed that Godzilla was a character. I mean, he might not be a real thing, but he's a real construct. Like, you understand what his character's supposed to be when you're watching the film. You're never confused as to what his thought process or his motivations are. It's like when he's getting shot at by tanks and he starts howling and, you know, rears back or something, you know, oh, he's pissed off. I don't know, the 2000s were a weird time for Godzilla. Anyway, that's it for Saturn. Tune in tomorrow for Uranus. Peace.